Right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Win Team. Great to have you here again today. I'd like to give you some introductory thoughts on the market and what's going on with the market to prepare you for how to approach customers, right? So that we appear knowledgeable. I've always believed you should stay ahead of the market in what you say and how you say it. So let me just give you some really granular tips and tools this morning. Let me just get my camera sorted here. My apologies. Yeah. Forgive me. We had a little bit of tech difficulty here today. So I'm just going to stop struggling with it, forget about the recording, and just talk with you guys. I don't want to sound like a stuck record here, guys, but how many of you are feeling some sort of change amongst buyers and amongst sellers in the market? How many of you are feeling that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling it a little bit.
100%.
And what are you feeling? What are you feeling people saying?
They're talking about the interest rates mostly.
Okay. All right. What? Anybody else? What are you hearing?
They're back standing in line for open houses. There's groups of people going to open houses. They used to be boring.
This is where I'm going. What else? What else are you guys seeing?
I hear people saying that they want to wait because they think that the market is going to crash and the prices are going to go down and people are losing their jobs.
Right. So that is an element out there. So there's two or three things that you've said. Anybody else want to share something?
Yeah, the uncertainty in the market, in the economy, the tariffs, the interest rates, that seems to have people sitting on the fence.
Right. Okay. So very interesting. Something that I've noticed all the years I've done this is the trends in the media. It's either interest rates up, interest rates down, cash offer competition, when all the Blackstone was buying homes and, you can't buy home because of cash offers. Then you can't buy home because it's too high. The interest rates are low. You can't buy a home because there's too many bids. You all get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. There's always some trend. And the way the news business works, and let's all just be really clear that news is a business, right? It's not a mission. It's not something philanthropic. It's a business. So all of the people who jump on YouTube and talk about, how can I say it, accelerate what's actually happening and expand what's actually happening. They're doing it because they want hits on YouTube. They do it because they want to sell advertising. And so you see these highly exaggerated trends, and people come in with panic or fear. So our job is to elevate ourselves above all of that and not to be superficial where we just go, oh yeah, the market's great. It's great every day to buy and sell and da 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 da. To be realistic with people, but we're not economists. We're there to help people get into homes. We know very well that in the long term, buying is better than renting. The stability. And having said that, I want you guys to, I advise you guys to remove yourselves as much as possible from political debate, and absolutely remove yourselves from it with your customers. Don't make that mistake thinking, yeah, they're conservative like me. And then you start saying something and then they never hear you again. Yeah, they're liberal like me. And you start saying something and you never hear from them again. People don't go to Zillow in quest of a political friend. They go to Zillow to find a home and to explore, can they buy or sell? So I want to make that point very, very clear. Extremely important coaching point out of the gate. Now you have to deal with the things that people say. And I will give you a very basic piece of advice. When people comment on the market or their view of the market, always revert back to why is it that you are looking at property? And you might, in your minds, you might go, Andrew, that's, you might just dismiss what I've said. I hope that you don't. immediately when you meet a customer, your primary focus is to find out, why are you doing this, right? Why are you looking for property? Why is it an important time for you? Well, we're a little bit nervous about Doge or whatever, but our daughter this, our son that, our job this, health conditions that, extra children, whatever, right? So people are going to have their reasons for buying, and that's what you need to find. You have to remember, guys, when the market was the worst it's been in my lifetime, in that 2009, 10, 11, 12 period, then it started to turn around, all the cash buyers came in. We were still selling a lot of property. Why? Because people need to live in homes. Even when people were staying in their homes for 3 years for free in short sales, there were people buying homes who wanted to buy those homes. Then it was because they realized the prices were down. And once again, the same conditions that are here now were here then, which is families and retirement and all those different dynamics that drive our lives. So please immediately get to know people on why they are moving. Now, having said that, let's talk a little bit about some market conditions. It's very interesting. The Redfin CEO came out and talked about house prices this morning and over the last couple of days. And you might want to write a couple of things down that are really very interesting. And by the way, if you'd like me to start doing economic Zooms as a part of Win Team, then tell me. Just come in the feed and say, Andy, that would be helpful. And I can do short little 3-4 minute looms that you can use and share with your customers. If that would be helpful to you, you let me know, okay? So right now, Redfin is predicting that over the course of the last part of this year, that there'll be a decline of about 1% in house prices over the United States. Now, interestingly enough, that didn't happen in California in April. It did happen. There was a decline in pricing across the United States as a whole. And I think personally, it is quite likely that this will happen. You will see a softening in pricing for a number of different reasons and a slight extending of market time. Across America in the month of April, the average days on market was 40 days. That was 5 days longer than a year ago. So it was 40 days on market, 5 days longer. Total inventory across America rose 16.7% year over year compared to last year. Now, it's so funny because last year we were saying, oh my gosh, there's no inventory. Then the minute there's inventory, real estate agents panic and follow the media because there's inventory. This is exactly what we wanted, right? It's exactly what we wanted. But there's a bite that's taking place. The bite is that the spike in pricing that came after the pandemic and continued after the pandemic is not sustainable forever. And so you can be very rational with people and say, yeah, those, put my home on the market at any price and there'll be 10 offers. Those days are gone. If they're not gone, they're definitely passing, which, Mr. Buyer, gives you an opportunity. Now, if they're older, like I am, they will immediately revert to panic thinking because that's the way in America we're trained to think. We're trained by the news media that sells advertisements to panic. And if you submit yourself to that, you're just basically being bought. The news media bought your mind. The worst drop in house pricing was during the crisis when we had a systemic collapse of the mortgage industry, of the banking industry. There was a systemic collapse. And during that period of time, we saw, yes, a collapse in pricing. It's the only time it's happened since 1925. There is no reason for that to happen again. It is extremely unlikely. However, if you look back over the last 100 years, you can just go to Google, pull up Google, and say, show me California house prices over the last 100 years, you will see the market has never declined where it has not risen above the previous low. It has never happened, including the pandemic, right? So pre-pandemic, a house that was, including the crisis, pre the crisis, homes that were 500,000, in some cases dropped to 250,000. Today, those homes are $750,000 and $800,000. So what I'm trying to explain to you is this. You are going to see a softening in pricing. It's going to happen. Interest rates may or may not go down. In my conjecture, by the end of the year, you may see interest rates come down. I personally feel that the market is going to see more inventory. You're going to see buyers having more choices. You may not see dramatic changes in interest rates until next year. Do we think there's going to be suddenly a 1% drop? No, I don't think so. Now, come around so I can really condense your thinking. First thing I've said this morning is do not follow panic thinking, follow charts, follow statistics. And I will share those statistics with you, what is happening. Fact number one, there is an increase in inventory. Fact number two, days on market is longer. Fact number three, you are seeing in some markets across America a softening in prices. Fact number four, it's still better and always will be better to own a home than rent a home. So you're going to have clients who will see these articles. And what happens is, and just so you understand how the news trend happens, when a CEO comes out of a major real estate company or a CoreLogic or somebody who's an authority in the industry, you will see a lot of online people showing dramatic charts and houses blowing up and graphs dropping down. And the average ordinary American looks at those things. The average ordinary American doesn't look at economic data. The average ordinary American doesn't look at statistics. So I'll be giving you those statistics to help you in your conversations. Now, so far, I've just been talking to you for like 13 or so minutes. Do I have any questions so far?
That makes perfect sense.
All right. Now is the time more than ever for you guys to embark on the power moves to success. And in your power moves to success, and I'm sorry, I can't share the chart with you this morning. I want you to go back into that chart and look at where is most of the time absorbed in your power moves for success. And the power moves for success, your highest time consumer is your 2 hours of power calling. That's 2 hours. Your 3 power office open houses, they're about 3 hours each, but your 2 hours are done in those power office open houses. And your power previews. Those 3 things are where the time is absorbed, and basically it's still a part-time job. If you do 3 3-hour sessions in your power office open houses, you do those 3 sessions over the course of a week, that's 9 hours. During those 3 sessions, you will do your 2 hours of calling. That's still absorbed within those 9 hours, right? And when you go into your power office open house, like I said yesterday, that's your activity hub. I want to really, I don't know the right word. If I could just reach into your lives and help you discipline your schedules, the first thing that I would do would be to say, go to your power performance tracker, pull it out, take out your matching declaration page that I've shared with you, and I'm going to ask you to share on Monday. Take out your matching declaration page, take out your power performance tracker, and lock in those power open houses. 2 things are going to happen. On your power open houses, you're going to need to dig into your buyers because you're going to accumulate a list of buyers. As the market gets softer, more buyers come into the market thinking there's opportunity, and some of them will procrastinate. So you're going into your follow-up boss and reviewing those buyers and calling them back and showing them, hey, this house we looked at last month just had a price reduction. Let's go see it again. Hey, you looked at a house on the street at 600,000. There's one down the street at 580. Let's go have a look at it. That kind of activity is what you'll be doing in your power office open houses. That kind of activity is what you will be doing in your blitz nights, right? So I know I'm sharing a lot with you. I want to be sure that you guys are really clear about this. Now is the time for the 8 power moves for success, more even than when I started it 3 months ago. Now is the time to prepare yourself and to prepare your customers. And your follow-up is going to be extremely important. That's why I put in the 2 power hours, because the 2 power hours, we're going to provide you with the leads. And in your power office open houses, you're probably going to increase your leads by 20 or 30%. So what I shared with you yesterday on who are your 30-day clients, who are your 60-day clients, who are your 90-day clients, what I shared with you yesterday is going to become crucial. Otherwise, you'll find yourself spinning your wheels and having these negative conversations with people. Oh, well, the market's coming down. Oh, well, I don't want to buy. No, the market's coming down. And you'll find yourself driving all over Robin Hood's barn and not selling property unless you master that conversation. So leadership over the next, I think, 2 years is going to be all about mastering the conversation, not being taken aback by the conversation. Does the fact that Doge is laying some people off change the fact that somebody who's 55 and can't walk up the stairs anymore needs another house? No. Does the fact that, a friend got laid off, or maybe your job place is thinned down by 10%, change the fact that your child still needs to be in a school district? Does the fact that the government does whatever, places tariffs, change the fact that you've got another child and you need another bathroom? None of those things change. Another thing that happens is that when layoffs happen in jobs, people find other jobs. When they find other jobs, they need to move to other places. Now, it used to be 3-4 years ago that people flocked out of California to go to Nashville. Nashville's almost as expensive as California. They flushed out of California to go to Austin. Austin's almost as expensive as California. They rushed out of California to go to Dallas. Dallas is almost as expensive as California. And so now that mass exodus issue is not going to be so much part of the conversation, because people, we watch them do it online, dance to another state, look at the prices in another state, and then they realize, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in the middle of tornadoes and storms and alligators and bugs and all of these other things, and it's not as cheap as I thought, and they stay put. I've got a client right now whose daughter wants her to move to Texas, and she's sitting in her home in Claremont, and we thought the listing there was guaranteed, and she's saying, you know what, I don't see that much of a price savings. I want to stay in Claremont. So now is the time for really clever, hardworking real estate agents to rise up. We're seeing it in the Warburton team, right? So far this month, we've opened 35 escrows. We've still got 10 days left in the month. We're probably going to sell 45 plus homes this month. Why? Because you guys are listening. You guys are working. You're actually working this isn't some fluffy thing that I'm giving you. You're working a system that produces results. So I started out by saying you're going to see economic change. Or you're going to see housing market change, right? Many people believe, and the economic indicators are that once these initial adaptations are being made in the marketplace, that you're going to see an increase in job salaries. You're going to see an increase in wages. The economists are expecting that, an increase in wages. So if you see an increase in wages and a decline in interest rates and an increase in inventory, what does that mean? It means better opportunities for house buyers. Now, any questions so far? Can I share something else with you really fast? Are you guys good? You still hanging in with me?
Yeah.
I want you to learn to use your tools really, really well. Can you see my screen, kids?
Yeah.
So have your GoWP now ready to go. And when you're showing property and you pull up a property, I'm just going to pull up any property here, right? So you pull up any property like this. So this is a coming soon. When you scroll down on that property, as you know, there's a mortgage calculator down here. And I want you guys, I highly recommend to you guys, do you have Eric Kinsley's number? Do you have Kathy Hui's number? Do you have Christian Darlin's number? Let me everybody turn on your microphones. Do you have those numbers? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I want you to.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Now listen to me. What I want you to do. listen carefully to me. I'm going to help you make money. Now, remember, you're dealing with a coach here and a broker who's done this for agents now since 1990. This is the fourth market move that I've been experienced in, and I've coached people in every market move. I'm not some young upstart. I don't need to sell myself to you. So trust me, the tools that you're going to need to use. So number one tool, I'm saying flat out, if you're not using your performance tracker, you're crazy. You need to start it right now. Right now, set up your 3 Power Office open houses. I was going to talk about open houses. I got distracted this morning. I'm going to do it tomorrow. You need to set them up for the weekend. Make it happen. And when you do those Power Office open houses, listen to me closely. When you do them, invite your customers to come visit you at those Power Office open houses. They may or may not come. That's not the point. The point is that they see that you're active, right? When you do your Power Office open houses, make sure you have your personal marketing flyer. Our marketing team is putting together a format for personal marketing flyers that you can pass that out for 10 homes before you go. And you are going to meet, guaranteed, people are going to say to you, we really regret we didn't sell our house when it was high. We need to sell our house now. When people see even the slightest decline, they will start to talk about selling their houses. You're going to meet those people through Power Office open houses. You must do them. You must get out into the marketplace. And when you're with a buyer and you pull up the property, Jonathan, that you're showing them. So if you're showing this house, you pull it up, right? I want you to call Eric today and say, look, what's the average house price that you sell, Jonathan? Give me the house price. 700, 800, 600. What is it? Jonathan?
950.
950. So you're going to call Eric and say, my average house price is 950,000. If somebody's doing a 10% down loan, what is the cost of a 1% buy down? That's your question. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Write it down. Every single one
Loud
of
and
you.
clear.
Right. Write it down. Then I'm going to take your 950 here, bro. So let's say this house is 950, right? So you go in here and you put in your watch. You can see my screen. Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you take your 950,000. And what's your average down payment, Jay?
Anywhere from 15 to 20%.
Right.
Sometimes
So let me take 10%
10.
just for helpfulness right here.
Go ahead.
Watch,
Yep.
bro. So your down payment here is 95,000. I goofed that up, didn't I? Down payment is $95,000. All right. So now you go down to your loan term is 30 years. And let's say the interest rate right now is what, 6.25? Let's take a 6.2.
I'll go with that.
What? Yep. Hit calculate. There's their payment, $52.64 without taxes. Now, if you want, what you can do here is go into advanced, put in your property tax at 1%. If it's a 950 house, 1%, it's roughly 10 grand a year, right?
Yep.
And what's your average home insurance for that? Roughly, quickly.
I do not know. I do not know. Sorry.
4,000.
Say 1,500 a year.
All right, so
$3,000.
1,500. Watch, kids.
At least 3,000 for a home that price.
All right, so there's 1,500. Now you're going to go down and calculate. I need to get this out of the way. A little harder to do it here. Sorry. Calculate. All right, so there's your payment. Now watch. There's your 62.23, right? You got the house payment. You're going to call Eric and say, what will a 1% buy down cost me? Now, watch this payment. They're like, oh my gosh, we had to be in the 5,000s. You guys hear this kind of stuff all the time. You go up to interest rate right here, and you put in 5.25. Go down to calculate. Drop down to 56.80, $600 a month. So right there, right in front of them, you say, look, I spoke to my financial friend today, and I believe I can negotiate with the seller to cover some costs for you, and we can get your interest rate down where it gets your payment at 56.80. When we met, you said you wanted your payment to be in the mid fives. How much do you like this home? What's its score out of 10? And you just close that deal. No emotion, no politics, no Doge, no right wing, no left wing. no religion, no universe, no should be or shouldn't be, math. In every crisis I have been through, I deal with the same two things over, and it's not a crisis we're going through, it's an adjustment. Every change I've been through, I deal with it exactly the same way. What does the math say, and why are you meeting me here today? So what you need to do is learn from Eric, from Kathy Hui, get on the phone, and when you're going to meet a buyer, make sure they're available, right? You can do the same thing with your Zillow home loan person. Get to know Eric, get to know Kathy, get to know Sean, get to know Derek, call these guys and say, look, I don't want a long, fluffy conversation with you. I don't want a conversation about the market. I don't want your political point of view. All I want to know is this. I'm showing a buyer on Sunday, and they're going to be in the $600,000 price range. And they're going to put down 60 grand. And I think the interest right now is 6.25, correct? And they'll say, yeah, 6.25. And at 6.25, their payment is going to be $39.77, right? What I need to know from you is how much will it cost for it to be 5.25? Excuse me, how much will their payment be at 5.25? So you're going to go back in here. You're going to hit your 5. You're going to go down here and you're going to hit calculate. 36.34. Immediate dramatic difference. So now you know that you can save them in that price range, $500 a month, $600 a month, right? So whenever you show a property, make sure you have it ready to go on Lofty. And you can do the same thing in Zillow. It's a little more complicated, but you have it ready to show on Lofty and you tap on it in the house and say, how do you feel about this house payment? Now watch. When you do it, you're going to say, you're going to take the 6.25, watch this, guys, and let them watch you do it. So Jonathan, you're showing the home. I understand that the home that I picked is 1.8 million, but I'm picking your numbers, right? So John, let's say you're in the house with them and you're showing them the $600,000 house. You show them the payment on the $600,000 house right here. I've done this so many times, guys. And you're going to hit calculate. So you're in the house. You say, look, this is roughly what the payment's going to be on this house at 6.25. Where do you score? You score this out of 7, out of 10. Oh, Andy, we really want it. Watch me. Watch me. We really wanted a payment around 3,500. If we could get you 35 to 3,600, would you write an offer on this house? Well, we need to be sure we could get it. Yeah, if you could get it, would you do that? You mentioned you want your child in that school. Is it worth it to you? And don't forget the tax benefits. And I'll talk about that to you at another time. They say yes. Say, well, look, this is how we're going to do this. My financial friend's on standby. And we know that we can get your interest rate down to 5.25%. Do you see here how it was 39.77? Well, it's 36.34. It's $100 off what you want. $100, maybe it's one meal out less a month. We can get that for you. Let's get my financial friend on the phone. You get the financial friend on the phone because they're pre-prepped. You've got the payment where it wants to be. Now, understand the sequence that I did this. You stand in the home. You show them the home on your app. Pull up the mortgage calculator and say, how do you feel about this payment? No, it's too high. How do you feel about this payment? Love it. Great. Well, as you notice, this house has been on the market 37 days. And they're going to do a price reduction soon. Most people don't want to reduce their price, but they'll give you a concession. And I'm going to show you how we can negotiate with them to get a concession to buy down your interest rate. Let's get my financial friend on the phone. Now, did you now know that you can go into the purchase contract? Listen to me carefully, particularly those of you who are new. You can go into the purchase contract, and in the purchase contract, you can put maximum interest rate. Did you know that? Yes or no?
No.
You can put
Yes.
maximum interest rate on the contract. Now, most buyers are going to trust you enough that you don't need to do that. I've done this many, many, many times. And you go into the contract and go, look, just so that you know I'm not full of hot air, we're going to make our offers subject to you having a maximum interest rate. And I'm going to put, and obviously make it realistic, right? 5.5%. I'm going to put 5.5% in there. And your offer is subject to you obtaining a 5.5%. And we're going to put in the offer $20,000 concessions to pay for that buy down. Would you like the seller to award you $20,000? Yes, I would. Would you like your payment to be at $3,600? Yes, I would. Great. I'm going to write it in right now. And they sign the offer. So the several pieces that I've shared with you, 7:05. I'm sorry, I've gone too long. Just ask me questions. Does anybody have any questions about this? Was this helpful to you? I need to hear.
Yes, absolutely.
Can
I
you
have a question.
I have one question.
Yes.
Does the buy down, is that effective if you do an FHA or if you have a lower down payment amount?
You can do an FHA, you can do a conventional, you can do a buy down. Yes, you can. And I'm talking about permanent buy downs, not temporary buy downs. I don't like temporary buy downs. Now, if a
What's the
customer,
maximum amount of points that you can buy down?
I think it's 2, but I'm not certain.
What's the difference,
Okay.
Andrew, between a permanent and a temporary buy down? How does
So
it affect the payment?
Yeah. So, well, no, it's exactly the same payment. If you do say a 2% temporary buy down and a 2% buy down, it's exactly the same payment. It's 2%. It's just the 2% temporary buy down lasts 1 year. And then the second year, it's a 1% buy down. The third rate you pay at note rate. But with a temporary buy down, the rate is going to go to the note rate. So if the note rate's 6.5, you buy down to 4.5. It's 4.5 year 1, 5.5 year 2, 6.5 year 3, right? That's not an adjustable. You've bought down the rate, then it's 6.5 for the duration of the loan. But if you buy down a rate by 2% from 6.5 to 4.5, it's 4.5 for the duration of the loan. Now it's a lot more expensive, but it's for the entire duration of the loan. So to give you an idea, if it's $1.2 million house, right? Let's say it's $1.3 million house. And $1.3 million house, you buy down 1%. That house would have to drop to $1.125 to match that payment. You're talking about a 16% decline in California prices, which is extremely unlikely. Extremely unlikely. You would see a 16% decline before you match the payment. This math, I really understand this math because I've done it so many times. I did it as far back as the 1990s, guys. So a temporary buy down is temporary. It buys it down for 1 year for each step. 3, 2, 1. 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 3% down, 2%, 1%. But a permanent buy down, that 1% buy down is for the duration of the loan. I'll even show you, if it will help you, I need to hear from you guys what you want me to talk about. I can even show you on different calculators how much they will save on their amortization over a period of 30 years.
You want to hear the flip side to
Yes,
that,
please.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Does everybody understand this?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to hear the flip side to that?
100%.
I'm doing it right now.
Guys, I'm sorry I'm going late. Hopefully you're not mad at me. I know.
No, we appreciate it. I like it.
Okay,
I have
go ahead, Joe.
okay. So
Well, I have a couple that is putting. We're closing next week.
Good.
They did the exact opposite. They raised their interest rate by I don't know. I forget what their interest rate is, but they're getting 2.25 points back. That's paying every bit of their closing costs, including the prepaids, and they're going to refi in about 6 months.
So this is brilliant. What Joe is saying here is brilliant. Now, I don't want you to get confused, guys, because that's like a whole nother training session. But when people are short of money and the seller won't move, they can elect to take a higher interest rate, just like Joe said, and it covers their closing costs. So that's another strategy, and it's brilliant. I mean, Joe's a veteran. It's brilliant. What I'm really, and I think, Joe, we should do a session just on that for when people are short of money. What's the one thing a seller can't pay, guys? Joe, I know you know, so don't answer. What's the one thing a seller cannot pay?
I don't know.
Down payment.
Closing costs.
Down payment. Down payment. Closing costs, yes, they can. Down payment, they can't. They can't pay it. right? So when somebody's got zero money, that's when you go to Eric, that's when you go to Kathy, that's when you go to Christian Darling. Christian Darling's a freaking genius at this. And you go to him and say, what grant program is there? What program is there out there that is the minimal money out of pocket? Then you use the concessions for the seller to cooperate. And if they really want the house and the seller won't cooperate, that's when you use Joe's strategy and you add on 0.5% onto interest rate loan. It creates a rebate and you can still pay their closing costs, right? But what I believe you're going to see a lot of is two things. One, you're going to see more people coming into open houses because they're like, it's worth it now because I can actually buy the house. You get that? That means you're going to need to follow up with those people because you're going to hear them go, maybe it'll be lower, maybe it'll be lower. So your follow-up is going to be, hey, you said maybe it'll be lower. The one up the street is lower. I can get you in to see it this weekend. But if you're not doing your 2 power hours, you'll forget those people. If you're not doing your power office open houses, you won't meet those people. So it's absolutely fundamentally important that you listen to me. And you go out there, you do your power tracker, you carry your book with you, you do your 3 power office open houses. And in those power office open houses, A, you're going to meet people, B, you do your power hours. And you call out to those people and go, hey, there's one up the street. Hey, there's one up the street. Hey, there's one up the street. This is what I did in the recession, guys, when houses were dropping like rocks. And not everybody wants to buy a house at the bottom. They find a house payment that they can afford and they're like, I need to move. I need to get my kids a home. So point 1 is get out there, get in the marketplace. Point 2 is this. When you're with the client, show your expertise. You're just going to pop up your GoWP now. You're going to tap on the house that you're showing. You're going to tap on the payment. And right there, right in front of them, you're going to show them what the payment is. Does this make sense?
Yes.
You hear how enthusiastic I am about this? I've done this so long, guys. There isn't a market I'm afraid of. It's all about adjusting and being intelligent. Is this kind of stuff helpful to you guys, along with the 8 power moves?
That is great, Andrew. Thank you.
Yes, it does.
I'll be
Super.
back with you tomorrow morning with more, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.